At Thanksgiving, I caught my wife cheating with our daughter's boyfriend in the middle of our daughter's birthday party. She said she felt invisible, but I made sure everyone saw what she really was, and her perfect image shattered in front of the whole family. Hey Reddit, I thought I had the perfect family. Steady job, loyal wife, 2 great daughters. Then I found out my wife was sneaking around with my daughter's boyfriend. Yeah, it got bad fast. Before I tell you how it all fell apart, let me start from the beginning. My name's Robert Hayes. I'm 48. I run a small construction outfit in town. Nothing fancy, just honest work. Been married to my wife Clara for 22 years. She's 45, a nurse at the local hospital. We've got 2 daughters. Nora's 23, level-headed and sharp, already working in accounting. Lily's 20, still in college. Softer, wears her heart on her sleeve. Our family used to run smooth. I'd leave for work before sunrise, coffee in hand, back by 5, dinner at 6, TV or fixing something in the garage. Routine, predictable. Clara and I weren't the romantic type anymore, but we were steady. Or I thought we were. Lately, she's been different. Snappy over small stuff. If I forgot to take out the trash or left my boots by the door, she'd act like I'd insulted her. Her tone changed. Sharper, more distant. She started saying things like, "You never change," or "I feel like I'm living with a stranger." I'd laugh it off. We've both gotten older, maybe that's what happens. Ethan started coming around more. He's Lily's boyfriend, 22, polite, handy, good sense of humor. The kind of kid you actually like having around your house. He'd help me move stuff in the yard, talk about cars, ask for advice. I liked him. Reminded me a bit of myself when I was his age. Quiet, respectful. At first, it was nice seeing Lily happy. Clara seemed to like him too. Maybe too much. When he'd stop by, she'd suddenly be in a good mood, doing her hair, changing clothes. I'd catch her asking if her makeup looked too much for just being home. I figured she just liked having company. Then small things started standing out. When Ethan complimented dinner, she'd light up, like she'd been waiting for it. She started calling him sweetheart, jokingly. "Sweetheart, can you pass me that bowl?" Or "Sweetheart, you're stronger than your girlfriend." Always with a laugh. Everyone laughed, but it landed wrong. I noticed the way she'd stand too close when talking to him. Hand on his arm, lingering too long when she thanked him for helping. Subtle, but I saw it. The kind of thing you tell yourself you imagine because you don't want to believe otherwise. One Sunday, Lily and Ethan were watching a movie in the living room. Clara came in wearing one of those new dresses she bought for work. It didn't look like workwear. She sat down right next to them instead of me, legs crossed, perfume heavy. She kept asking Ethan what he thought of her new hairstyle. I watched quietly, pretending to check emails on my phone. Ethan looked uncomfortable. Lily didn't seem to notice. That night, when we went to bed, I mentioned it. "You really like that kid, huh?" I said it lightly. Clara laughed. "Don't be jealous," she said, half smiling, then turned off the lamp. I wasn't jealous. I just didn't like how easily she brushed it off. The next few weeks, the house felt off. Clara started staying late at work more often. I'd text her around 8. She'd reply with short answers. "Busy. Still at the hospital. Don't wait up." When she came home, she'd be quiet, phone in her hand, scrolling nonstop. I'd ask how her day went. She'd just shrug. Nora noticed it too during one of her visits. She pulled me aside while Clara was in the kitchen. "Mom seems weird lately," she said. "Like she's always distracted." I told her not to worry. Maybe her mom was just stressed. Then one night, around 11, I got up to get some water. The light from her phone lit the room. She was lying next to me, scrolling. When she saw me roll over, she quickly flipped her phone face down. I didn't think much of it until the screen lit again, and for half a second, I saw a name pop up. Ethan. She froze, then turned the phone off and mumbled, "It's nothing. Go back to sleep." I didn't move. Didn't say a word. Just lay there staring at the ceiling, listening to her breathing slow down, like she was pretending to sleep. The weeks after that night felt off. Clara's tone changed for good. She rolled her eyes when I spoke, sighed at everything I did. If I asked how her day went, she'd say, "Busy, like always." Like it was a stupid question. I'd crack a joke at dinner, and she wouldn't even look up from her phone. It was small stuff, but when someone stops respecting you, you feel it before you can prove it. One Thursday, I got off work early. Job wrapped up faster than expected, so I grabbed lunch and headed home. Clara's car was in the driveway. So was Ethan's. Lily's car wasn't. When I walked in, I heard low voices in the kitchen. Clara's laugh, louder than usual. I stepped in, and Ethan looked like he'd been caught stealing. He stammered something about dropping off a charger Lily left in his truck. Clara jumped in right after, saying they were just chatting about Lily's classes. "Lily's not even home," I said. My voice came out flatter than I meant. Clara didn't blink. "Yeah, I know. He just stopped by to ask about her birthday next week." "Don't make that face, Robert." I didn't say anything else. Ethan mumbled a goodbye and left. Clara stood by the sink, crossed her arms and said, "You really need to relax." From then on, I kept quiet. There's no point arguing with someone who's already rewriting the story in their head. She started throwing little insults into normal conversations. "You've lost your edge." Or, "You used to have confidence, what happened?" She said it like she was trying to get a rise out of me. When I didn't react, she'd huff, roll her eyes, walk away. One night after dinner, she finally said it straight. "You're jealous, aren't you? You've been weird ever since Ethan started helping around here. It's pathetic, Robert. You've gotten paranoid." I remember just looking at her. "I'm not jealous of a kid, Clara." She laughed in that sharp way people do when they want to end a conversation, not continue it. Then she grabbed her phone and went to the bedroom, scrolling and smiling at the screen. That weekend, I met my buddy Ray for coffee. He's retired law enforcement, used to work missing persons and domestic cases. He's the kind of guy who sees through everything. I told him I didn't have hard proof, just a lot of strange behavior, and one text notification that didn't sit right. He stirred his coffee and said, "You don't need to argue. Don't accuse, don't ask, just observe. People who lie eventually trip over their own words." I nodded. That stuck with me. From then on, I stopped reacting. I started watching patterns instead of conversations. Clara got bolder. She started posting long captions online about finding yourself and not letting anyone dim your light. There were pictures of her smiling at the gym, new hair, new clothes. None of it looked like the woman I married. She'd act like she was 20 again, tagging her coworkers and writing things like, "It's never too late to reinvent yourself." At home, she was different. Quick-tempered, moody, short answers. One evening, Nora came by for dinner. She noticed the tension right away. After Clara went upstairs, Nora asked quietly, "Dad, is Mom okay?" "She's been acting off." I said, "She's just stressed from work." Nora frowned. She was short with Lily last time they talked too. "Something's weird." Before I could respond, Clara walked back into the kitchen. She'd clearly heard us. "Something's weird," she said, glaring at both of us. "You two gossiping about me now?" Nora tried to explain, but Clara cut her off. "I see what's happening. You're turning the girls against me, Robert. You're pathetic." Then she slammed the cabinet door and walked out. Nora looked at me, speechless. I told her to go home and not worry about it. No use dragging her deeper into this mess. Later that night, I sat in the living room, pretending to read, while Clara scrolled on her phone across from me. She laughed once or twice at something on the screen. I watched her reflection in the window. She didn't notice. When she went to shower, she left the phone on the couch. I shouldn't have touched it, but I did. I didn't dig through everything. Just opened her messages. It asked for Face ID. The swirl flashed, unlocked. Messages looked clean. Then I tapped Recently Deleted. Inside were a few threads from a contact saved as E. My hand shook a little as I opened it. One message said, "Wish I could see you without worrying who's around." Another, "I miss talking like before. You make me feel understood." It wasn't proof of anything physical yet, but it didn't need to be. I took photos of the screen with my own phone. Every word, every timestamp. Then I put hers back exactly where it was. When she came out, I was in the same spot, flipping a page like nothing happened. She sat down next to me and said, "You're awfully quiet lately." "Just tired," I said. She smiled faintly, leaned over, kissed my cheek, and said, "Don't stay up too late." Then she went to bed. I sat there for a while, staring at the phone on the couch where she left it. My heart was steady, not racing. I wasn't angry yet, just aware that whatever I used to believe about my marriage wasn't true anymore. That was the night I stopped trusting my wife. The next week, I did what Ray said. No confrontation, no shouting. Just observe. I bought 2 small motion cameras online, the kind you could set up with an app. One went above the garage door, the other on a kitchen shelf behind a few cookbooks. Cheap, discreet, enough to see who came and went. I told Clara I was upgrading the Wi-Fi. She didn't question it. She was glued to her phone most of the time anyway. I started acting normal again. Morning coffee, work, dinner, small talk. The calmer I was, the less she suspected anything. Clara started staying late more, saying the hospital was short-staffed. Sometimes she'd come home near midnight, exhausted and irritable. The stories never matched. One night she said she had to cover a patient's transfer. Another night it was a staff meeting. The next, paperwork delays. I nodded through all of it. Lily had started hanging out more with her college friends, gone most evenings. She didn't notice much at home. She'd talk about her classes, laugh about things with Ethan, post photos online. Everything looked normal from her end. I didn't want her dragged into what I was starting to see. Nora texted me one night after talking to Lily. "Dad, something's off. Lily's anxious all the time. She says Mom's been weird lately. Just keep an eye on things." I replied, "I am." That was all I could say. 2 days later, Clara told me she was picking up an extra night shift. She kissed me on the cheek before leaving, her scrubs perfectly pressed, perfume stronger than usual. I waited until her car pulled out of the driveway before opening the camera app on my phone. For hours, nothing. The kitchen camera picked up the cat walking by. At 9:52 p.m., the motion alert blinked. Someone had come through the back door. It wasn't Clara. It was Ethan. He looked around like he was checking if anyone was there, then walked straight toward the kitchen. A few minutes later, Clara appeared in the frame. Same scrubs, but her hair down. I watched the two of them talking. They were standing close, laughing. He said something. She touched his arm. Then she stepped in a little closer. Not enough to call it proof, but enough to make my stomach drop. They stood there for maybe 10 minutes, laughing quietly like kids sharing a secret. Then they moved toward the garage door, out of the camera's range. I just sat there staring at the screen. My hands didn't shake. My heart didn't race. It was a kind of stillness I hadn't felt before, like the moment after a loud noise when everything goes quiet. When she came home later that night, she was humming. She dropped her bag, kissed me goodnight, and went straight to shower. I just nodded. I watched her brush her teeth, the same tune under her breath. The woman who had just been in my kitchen with my daughter's boyfriend looked me in the eye and said, "You okay?" "You're quiet again." "I'm fine," I said. I stepped outside into the cold and let the noise drain out of me. It wasn't anger. It was disappointment. I looked back through the footage again before bed. The way she smiled at him, how comfortable he looked walking through my door. That told me everything I needed to know. I saved the clip, backed it up, and deleted it from the app's feed. Then I locked my phone and turned off the lights. Lying next to her, listening to her steady breathing, I realized I wasn't going to ask her anything. I already had my answer. Thanksgiving landed on Lily's 21st this year, so we combined it. Turkey, pie, and a small birthday setup in the backyard. I woke up early, prepped the bird, checked the smoker, set chairs, and ran extension cords for the string lights Nora wanted. She showed up before noon with pies and that look that says she's paying attention to everything. Clara had been stashing party stuff in the garage all week, labels on boxes like she was running inventory. Clara took longer than usual getting ready. New dress, heels, hair curled, too formal for a family holiday. She kept checking her phone between basting reminders and telling me where to place the serving dishes. Her smile looked pasted on. By 4, neighbors and a couple of Clara's co-workers arrived. Lily floated around accepting hugs, glowing, excited for her double day. I carved while Nora plated sides. The house felt full. Football murmuring from the living room, chatter in the kitchen, clatter of serving spoons. For a while, it felt like the kind of holiday you remember. Ethan was late. When he finally stepped in with a gift bag and a bottle of sparkling cider, Lily ran to him. He looked nervous, glancing around too much, but he hugged her and said, "Happy birthday!" And everyone clapped, like that made him part of the family. Clara's face changed the second she saw him. Eyes bright, shoulders back, voice lighter. She touched his sleeve, told him he looked sharp, and steered him toward the table. We all sat. Long table, mismatched chairs, plates crowded with food. I said a short grace. People dug in, and the conversation rolled easy at first. Ethan told some short story about a professor. Clara laughed too loud and put a hand on his arm. It stayed there a second too long. Nora saw it and went still, jaw tight. I kept carving and let the scene write itself. Halfway through dinner, Clara kept orbiting him, refilling his plate, handing him the gravy, asking if he liked the sweet potatoes this year. Lily didn't notice. Most guests pretended not to. The ones who did notice looked down at their plates. After we cleared the dishes, we brought out the pumpkin pie and a small cake with 21 candles. Everyone sang. Lily made a wish, blew them out, and hugged me first. Then Nora, then finally Ethan. Cameras flashed. For a second, everything looked normal. Clara clapped her hands. "I forgot the birthday surprise," she said. "It's in the garage." She disappeared down the hall, heels tapping fast. A minute later, Ethan said, "I'll help her find it," and slipped away. Nora's eyes met mine. I didn't speak. She stood half out of her chair like she might follow, then sat back down. I excused myself quietly. The hallway was empty. I could hear the house noise behind me. Football, forks clinking, low conversation. I opened the garage door. Light on. Cold air. They were near the workbench by my tool chest. Close, hands tangled, kissing. It wasn't a misunderstanding, not a stumble, not almost. It was clear. They didn't notice me at first. I stepped forward so the door clicked against the stop. Ethan jerked back, hands up. Clara spun, hair coming loose, eyes wide. I kept my voice level. "You two done?" No one breathed. The freezer hummed. A socket wrench on the bench vibrated a little from the door bump and then settled. Clara tried first. "Robert, this is..." "Don't," I said. Ethan searched for words and found none. He looked at the floor like it offered a way out. "Get out of my house," I said to him. "Now." He moved, stumbling toward the door, then froze because voices approached behind me. Footsteps, whispers. Nora appeared in the doorway, then Lily, then 2 of Clara's co-workers, and 1 neighbor who'd followed the noise. They saw enough in 1 second to understand everything. Lily's voice came out small. "What is this?" No one answered. Ethan's face drained. He looked at Lily, then at Clara, then tried to speak. "Lily, I cut him off. You're a coward. Leave." He went around me fast, shoulder brushing the doorframe, almost running. He passed the others without looking up and vanished down the hall. Lily stayed planted. Her eyes bounced from Clara to me, trying to press the scene into a different shape. It wouldn't move. When it finally clicked, she folded like her legs quit. Nora caught her and held her in the doorway. Clara reached a hand out, voice shaking. "Robert, you don't understand. I felt invisible. I met her eyes. Now you are." She flinched like the room got colder. Behind me, the Thanksgiving noise died. The TV was still on, but nobody cared. A pie server clattered in the kitchen and went quiet. One of Clara's co-workers covered her mouth. The neighbor whispered, "Oh my God," and backed away. Nora guided Lily to the wall and slid down with her, whispering something I couldn't hear. Lily didn't look at anyone. She stared at the floor and shook, breathing in fast, broken sounds. I stepped aside. "Everyone out," I said. No shouting, just order. People moved, slowly at first, then faster, like they needed air. The hallway filled and emptied. Someone turned the TV off. The front door opened, closed, opened again. Chairs scraped. The whole house shifted from holiday to evacuation in under a minute. Clara stood alone by the workbench, makeup running, hands trembling. "We can fix this," she said weakly, as if saying it could make it true. "Please." It wasn't supposed to. I walked past her. She reached like she might grab my sleeve and thought better of it. In the dining room, candles still burned, plates half-eaten, pie untouched. The 21 candles lay bent in a dish. Through the window, I saw a couple of guests in coats crossing the lawn without goodbyes. Nora looked up at me from the floor, still holding Lily. Her face was stone. No more confusion, no more guessing. Just clarity and anger. Take Lily to her room, I said. I'll clear the house. She nodded. They moved together, slow and careful. I went to the front door and told the remaining guests, "It's over. Thank you for coming." No explanations. No details. They didn't ask. The neighbor put a hand on my shoulder, squeezed, and left. When the house was finally empty, I turned off the porch light and locked the door. The quiet felt wrong for a second, then honest. Clara came out of the hallway, mascara streaked, shoulders slumped. "Please," she said, voice small now. "Don't do this." I looked at her like you look at a stranger asking directions. "You did this in front of our daughter, on Thanksgiving, in my house." She had nothing for that, just tears and a shaking breath. I stepped past her to the backyard and pulled the plug on the string lights. The yard went dark in one sweep. The cold came up from the grass. Inside, I could hear Lily crying in her room, Nora's voice soft and steady. Clara stood in the kitchen doorway, waiting for mercy that wasn't coming. "There's nothing left to talk about," I said. "Go to your sister's. Take what you need tonight. Come for the rest tomorrow." She opened her mouth, closed it, and nodded once. I grabbed my jacket from the chair, walked out the side door, and stood in the driveway under the hard white garage light. The holiday smell, turkey, cinnamon, coffee, drifted out and then faded. That was Lily's 21st and Thanksgiving combined. A table set for gratitude, a garage set for truth, and everyone who mattered seeing exactly who was who. Ethan vanished the next morning. He didn't call, didn't text. By Friday, calls went straight to a dead voicemail, and texts bounced like the SIM was gone. Lily spent the first few days in her room with the lights off, crying until she fell asleep. Every sound in the house felt heavy. I'd knock sometimes to make sure she ate, but she rarely answered. Nora stayed close. She cleaned up what was left from the party, helped me take down the lights, threw away the decorations that were still hanging. Neither of us said much. We didn't need to. Clara packed a few bags and left for her sister's place that same night. The rest, the next day. She said she needed space. Nobody stopped her. She didn't even look at me when she walked out. By the next morning, the text started. "I made a mistake. It didn't mean anything. You're throwing away our family over one bad decision." I read them all, didn't reply to any. The messages came in waves. Apologies, anger, begging, guilt. She called twice a day for a week straight. I muted the number. Ray came by that Friday. I told him what happened. He didn't look surprised, just nodded slowly. "First thing," he said, "protect your accounts. People panic when they realize they've lost control." He helped me call the bank, freeze joint access, move the business funds to a separate account. We filed the early paperwork for legal separation. He said, "Don't talk to her directly. Everything goes through the lawyer now." That weekend, Nora stayed the night. Lily still wasn't leaving her room much. I found her one morning sitting on the floor, scrolling through old photos of her and Ethan. She looked up at me with red eyes and said, "I don't understand how she could do that to me." I didn't have an answer. I just said, "Some people destroy what they have because they can't stand being ordinary." Clara kept sending messages like she was rewriting the story every day. "You pushed me away." He understood me. It wasn't real love, just confusion. The tone switched constantly. One night she sent, "I still love you. Please don't end this." And the next morning, "You're heartless." 2 weeks passed before she showed up. I heard banging at the door around 8 a.m. When I opened it, she was standing there in sweatpants, hair messy, eyes red. She looked desperate. "You're ruining my life," she yelled. "Do you even care what this is doing to me?" I stayed in the doorway. "You already did that yourself." "You think you're innocent?" she snapped. "You were cold, distant. You never looked at me anymore." "Maybe I stopped recognizing you," I said. She froze for a second, breathing hard. Then she pulled her ring off and threw it at me. It bounced off the porch and rolled into the yard. She turned around and stormed off. I watched her car peel out of the driveway and didn't move until it was gone. After that, the silence in the house changed. It wasn't heavy anymore, just empty. Nora went back to work during the week, but checked on us often. She and I kept things moving. Bills, cleaning, groceries. The rhythm helped. Lily started therapy on campus. She came home less, but when she did, she'd stay close to me. One night, she hugged me out of nowhere and said, "I know you tried to protect us." That was the first time either of us had mentioned the night in the garage since it happened. I found Clara's ring a few days later while mowing the lawn. I tossed it into a drawer in the garage without looking at it. Word started spreading around town. People stopped asking about her at the grocery store. Some already knew. Others pretended not to. Her sister called once. Said Clara was trying to get herself together, but that she was drinking a lot and barely showing up to work. By mid-month, Ray heard from someone on the force that Ethan had packed up and left town. No forwarding address. No job lined up. He just disappeared. Clara must have tried to reach him, because her texts started again. Short, bitter ones this time. "He used me. He lied to me too. You're happy now, aren't you?" I didn't answer those either. Days turned into weeks. I went back to early mornings and long work hours. Nora stopped mentioning her mother altogether. Lily kept her distance but was getting better. She started laughing again during calls. I saw Clara once more that month. She was sitting in her car outside the house when I came home from work. She rolled the window down, eyes hidden behind sunglasses. "I just wanted to see if you talked to me," she said quietly. I had nothing else to say. She started the car and drove off without another word. That was the last time she came near the house. The following week, Nora brought dinner over and said, "It's peaceful now." She was right. Clara's choices had destroyed everything she claimed to want, and the silence she left behind suited me fine. A month after she left, Clara went online with black and white selfies and long captions about toxic people and choosing yourself. Mutual friends sent screenshots. I said nothing. When anyone contradicted her, the comments vanished. Each post rewrote the same story. I was cold, controlling, and she'd escaped a loveless house. At work, she'd gone from respected nurse to someone people avoided. Nora said one of her old coworkers told her Clara couldn't focus on patients anymore. Always on her phone, always emotional. I figured it was only a matter of time before it all caught up to her. Then one night, close to midnight, my phone rang. Lily's name lit the screen. She was crying so hard I could barely understand her. "Dad, she's here," she said between sobs. "Mom's outside my apartment yelling in the parking lot. She won't leave." I told her to stay inside and lock the door. Then I got my keys and drove. When I pulled into the complex, I saw Clara sitting on the curb under a streetlight. Her car door was open, the headlights still on. She was crying into her hands, makeup streaked down her face, her hair messy. I parked a few spaces away and walked over. When she saw me, she stood up, stumbling a little. "I lost everything," she said. Her voice cracked. "I lost my family. My girls hate me. You hate me. Everyone hates me." I stopped a few feet away. "You did," I said quietly. She stepped closer, eyes wide. "You don't understand, Robert. I didn't mean for it to happen. I wasn't thinking straight. I just wanted to feel wanted again. I needed someone to see me." I shook my head. "You could have gone anywhere else for that." "Not to him." She covered her face and sank back to the curb, sobbing. I didn't move. I didn't yell or comfort her. I just stood there, watching her fall apart. After a few minutes, I called for a cab on my phone and waited with her in silence. When the car pulled up, she looked at me and said, "Please don't give up on me." "You need help, Clara," I said. "Professional help, not me." She didn't answer. I opened the cab door, helped her in, and told the driver to take her to her sister's place. Then I turned and walked back to my truck. Lily was waiting by her window when I looked up. I waved to let her know it was handled. She texted a minute later, "Thank you, Dad." The next few days, Clara tried calling again, but I didn't pick up. Ray stopped by once and said, "She's unraveling. Let her." I nodded. There was nothing else to do. A week later, her sister called. "They put her on leave," she said. "She had a breakdown at work. Couldn't stop crying in front of patients." I didn't say much, just thanked her for letting me know. 2 days after that, I decided to visit once. Not to fix anything, just to close the book. Her sister met me at the door and said Clara was resting. When I walked in, she was sitting on the couch, pale, tired, eyes empty. She looked up at me like she was seeing a ghost. "You actually came." "I did," I said. "You'll regret letting me go," she said. Her voice was quiet but sharp. "You'll end up alone, just like me." I looked at her, and for a moment, I saw the person she used to be, the woman I'd built a life with. Then I saw what she'd become. "No," I said. "I regret thinking you'd never do this." She blinked, trying to process it. I turned and walked out without looking back. When I got home that evening, I sat on the porch with a cup of coffee. The air was cold again. Like the first night, I'd realized something was wrong. For the first time in months, I didn't wonder what she was doing. I didn't replay anything in my head. I just sat there until the sun started coming up, knowing the worst part was finally over. 2 years passed. I didn't file right away. The first winter was about stabilizing the house and Lily. By spring, I started the paperwork, but Clara kept asking for time, and every hearing she could delay, she did. I'd moved into a smaller place on the edge of town, a one-story house with a clean yard and a white fence I built myself. The garden stayed neat, the tools lined up in the shed, and the porch light never burned out. It wasn't big or fancy, but it was mine, and it stayed quiet. The business was running smooth again. Ray hung it up for good, not just the badge. He stopped even popping by the shop, and his nephew Daniel started picking up hours with me. Good kid, quick learner, dependable. I handled the paperwork in the mornings and helped on site when needed. My health had improved since the stress was gone. Steady routine, no chaos, no late-night arguments. Nora visited every Sunday, bringing groceries or something she'd baked. She was doing well at her job, grounded, calm. Lily called more now too. At first, it was short check-ins, then full conversations about school, work, her new apartment. It took her a while to heal, but she sounded happy again. We started seeing each other as a small family again. Not perfect, but honest. That spring, Nora suggested we take a short trip together. Just us three, no drama, no ghosts, she said. We picked Paris. Lily handled the tickets. I handled the logistics. It felt like something we all needed. The trip went better than I expected. We visited the usual places, ate too much, walked miles every day. We laughed. Real laughter. The kind that doesn't hide pain. On the last day, Nora took a picture of us near the river. Me in a simple jacket, both girls on either side smiling. She posted it online with the caption, "New memories, old strength." I didn't think much about it until the next morning, when I got an email from my lawyer. Clara had seen the picture. By that point, the divorce had been dragging for almost a year. Papers filed, property settled, a dozen hearings postponed because she'd refused to cooperate. She kept insisting she wasn't ready to finalize it, claiming she wanted to make things right. Every delay felt like her last attempt to stay connected. But after that photo, something snapped in her. She filed a last-minute motion to contest, claiming emotional distress, saying I'd turned the girls against her. The final hearing was scheduled 2 months after we got back. That day in court, she showed up looking different, thinner, exhausted, but still trying to appear composed. She didn't have a lawyer anymore. I had mine, quiet and organized. Nora came to support me. Lily stayed outside. The judge went through the formalities. Assets already split, house sold, debts cleared, nothing left to argue. Clara interrupted halfway through. "This isn't fair," she said, voice rising. "He ruined everything. He poisoned my daughters against me." The judge told her to sit down. She didn't. She looked at me directly. "Say something, Robert. Say I mattered to you once. You can't even do that, can you?" I said, "You mattered until you didn't." The courtroom went silent. She froze for a moment, then started shaking her head, tears falling fast. "You're cold," she said. "You all are." And when the judge announced the marriage officially dissolved, Clara stood up suddenly and shouted, "You'll regret this! You'll all regret this!" Then she broke down completely, crying in front of everyone. The bailiff had to escort her out. Nora squeezed my arm as we walked out. "It's over, Dad." "Yeah," I said. "Finally." A few weeks later, word got around that Clara moved out of state. A mutual acquaintance said she was working odd shifts at a clinic, renting a small apartment alone. I didn't ask for details. There was nothing left to know. Life settled into something simple after that. Work, home, weekends with my daughters. The house stayed clean. Bills were paid. Peace was dinner without tension. One afternoon, I stopped for gas on the way back from a job site. While filling up, I saw someone across the lot that made me pause. Ethan. He looked older, worn out, hair longer, clothes cheap. When he noticed me, his face went pale. For a second, I thought he'd avoid me, but he didn't. He gave a small nod. I nodded back. That was it. No words. No anger left. Just two people who couldn't rebuild what was already broken. Driving home, I realized how far I'd come from that night in the garage. I wasn't the same man. I wasn't broken anymore either. Just different. Steadier. When I got home, Nora had dropped by and left a note on the table. "Dinner next Sunday? Lily's bringing dessert? Love you." I smiled. That one line said more than anything else could. Later that evening, I sat on the porch with a mug of coffee. The air smelled like rain, and the neighborhood was quiet. The streetlight buzzed softly. The same low hum I'd heard 1,000 times before. Peace has a sound, I thought. It's not silence. It's steady breathing. Wind through the trees. Nothing left to prove. If someone had told me years ago that betrayal could shape you into something better, I would have called them a liar. But I understood it now. When you catch the people you love doing something you can't forgive, it doesn't just kill trust. It kills the man you were before that moment. The trick isn't to rebuild him. It's to become someone they could never destroy again. I looked out at the garden, the porch light glowing over the steps, the fence I'd painted last month, the quiet street where nobody knew my past. For the first time in a long time, I didn't feel anger or sadness or loss, just balance. I took another sip of coffee, leaned back in the chair, and let the quiet fill the space that used to be chaos. It wasn't victory, it was peace, and that was enough.